Welcome, everyone. I'm Julie Trone with the Zonta USA Caucus, and I welcome you. Well, the Zonta Says Now Climate Justice presentation is our presentation today, and I welcome you to our presentation. We are a committee in the Zonta USA Caucus, and we'll tell you more about that in a moment. Please mute and turn off your videos during our presentation until our breakout session and when we do Q&A with Stevan. If you have to leave, please leave quietly. During this presentation, we reserve the right to remove any attendee who uses inappropriate language or disrupts the presentation in any way. Thank you so much for your cooperation. If you want to put in the chat where you are located, we would love to see that. And thank you again. The Zonta USA Caucus is a national organization under the umbrella of Zonta International. It aligns with the mission to build a better world for women and girls through advocacy and education. The Zonta Says Now to Gender Equal Climate Justice Committee is one of 6 advocacy committees in the caucus. To learn more, visit our website. The URL will be provided at the end with other resources. Our committee members represent many Zonta districts in the United States. If your district is not represented and you would like to be part of our committee, please put your name, district number, and email in the chat so we can contact you. Please use the chat to post questions or comments. Thank you so much. So today on our journey, I'm going to send it over to Angela, who's going to talk about it.
Thank you, Julie. Today we will be discussing what is gender equity, what is climate justice, how are men achieving gender equity. You will hear our guest speaker, Stevan Lynn from Deeds Driven Dads organization, who will speak about his work with men and boys to educate and mentor them on gender equity. Then we will talk about it together, learn what Zontians can do, and share resources. Next slide, please. So, what is climate justice? Next slide, please. There are 2 components that equal climate justice. The first is social justice. Zontians are familiar with many social justice issues and initiatives. This is what we have been doing for over 100 years. Climate action is new to Zontians, but not to people in the US and globally who have been advocating, educating, innovating, collaborating to achieve clean air, water, and soil, protecting our ecosystems, our food systems, and more. Climate justice marries these 2 areas because data shows that when there is climate-related issues, the social justice issues deepen and worsen. Poverty is one of the key issues here. Next on our journey, gender equity. Joyce?
Thank you, Angela. This is a snapshot of gender inequality, which affects women and girls' lives more than men and boys. Wages, housing, educational opportunities, economic opportunities, and gender-based and sexual violence are only some of the disparities. I'll give you a moment to read this slide. Next slide. Here are more disparities that women face: health, reproductive rights, government, racism, and discrimination. Next slide. What does equality look like? It is a human right. Imagine in the United States that over 51% of the population is women and girls. Now ask yourself why we do not have the same legal protections, resources, freedoms, and opportunities as men. As you can see on the slide, and we agree, women and girls are entitled to live in dignity, safety, and security. Data has shown that given equal freedoms, more women and girls will be leaders, decision makers, and innovators. Less women and girls will remain in poverty or under the threat of violence. But what does it take to achieve gender equality? Next slide. Next on our journey is how are men approaching gender equality? Joanne?
Thank you, Joyce. Here are a few international and U.S. organizations that work on gender equality with men and boys. Ecumundo, a world free from violence by engaging men and boys. He for She, they stand in solidarity with women to create a bold, visible gender equality. The U.S. Agency for International Development is in partnership with Ecumundo. And Men Engaged Network, a solidarity with those most targeted by gender injustices. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Data matters. We use it in many ways, like research, education, decision-making. It's also a necessary component to achieve gender equality. Next, thank you. As Zontians, we work on gender issues such as this one. Workforce gender equality is used to close the gender gap in the workforce. Next slide, please. Retired women face inequality as a result of the gender pay gap. Look at the bottom. Do you see the age group where you want to retire or have retired? Next slide, please. From childhood, women have faced and still face earnings inequality. 2/3 of the people living in poverty are elderly women. Next slide, please. Our guest speaker, Stevan Lynn, has much to share about how men are working with men and boys to embrace gender equality so we can reach a zero gender gap. Eileen?
Thank you, Joanne. Today, we are pleased to welcome our guest speaker, Stevan Lynn, to talk about his work in achieving gender equality. They call him Coach because he was a football coach and continues to mentor and coach men through organizations like Men Engaged Network and his own organization, Deeds Driven Dads. Stevan is a gender justice advocate, a leader, and he supports and counsels feminist-based organizations and men's groups internationally and nationwide. Next slide. Let's watch a short video to learn more before he begins. Are we bringing up the video?
Can you not see the video?
No,
No.
I can't, no.
Okay, let me fix that. Okay, hold on, everybody. I gotta stop the share. This is the problem with Zoom. Gotta start over. Okay, here we go. Sorry, everyone.
Can you maximize it?
And put the sound on.
Of what a father's role is in the house. So here it is. A father's role is doing everything and anything. Anything that a mother can do, we can do. That's not her job, including but not limited to making sure that the dishes are done, making sure that the bathroom is fresh and clean, sweeping and mopping the floor. You name it, we can do it. For when a father maintains that house on a regular basis, keeping it spotless, not only does it build his character, but it also provides a nice, clean environment for the kids where they can thrive and they feel happy that they're coming to their home, that their father cleaned. Fatherhood, deeds, not words.
Thank you so much. So welcome, Stevan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me adjust my screen. Thank you so much. I always get tickled when I see that, especially the dishes. I just finished some dishes a few minutes ago. You know, that's a never-ending task. Good evening, everybody. So good to see you all. So honored, and I truly mean that, to be able to speak to this wonderful body of soldiers and real conscientious social justice leaders. Today, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about the work that we've been doing these many years, over 30 now, where we're working with men and boys, not only in the fatherhood realm, but in the masculinity realm. What does it mean to be a nurturing, caring, giving man? And as many of you probably can attest, that's a message that needs to be heard now more than ever. Oftentimes it's the first time many men are hearing it, but I'm here to tell you it's more often than not well received. You saw a little bit earlier just now, a little bit of our style. We chose many years ago that we needed to speak to the masses, the problem of gender inequality, of men with this patriarchal misnomer and these ideas that were archaic was continuously being perpetuated. So we said we wanted to hit them where it hurts, if you will, with a lot of video presentations. I'm from New York, so we started a television show about 10 years ago now to really speak to the masses, and it's really been very successful, but we're going to talk a little bit about it today. Before we get started, I want to give you a quote of someone who I have been studying, follow, and that's the great writer, orator, freed slave, Frederick Douglass, who spoke to what we're dealing with many, many, many years ago. But even then, he knew that a call to action was needed. And I quote, "Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where one class is made to feel that society is in an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe." You heard Frederick say it then? Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you now, we are still at that crossroads, now more than ever. We are in challenging times in the social justice realm, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we've been doing to speak to men and boys, which I'm sad to say, I'm very disheartened, but that is our audience. Those are the minds that need to be changed. And I brought a little prop with me, someone that I use with the men. Today, you're gonna get a taste of how it is I speak to the men, so that when you're promoting this, when you say Coach Lynn said it, you'll be able to say, hey, I felt it. I was in one of his training sessions, and you'll be able to speak what I'm saying, all right? And I want to introduce you to my friend, my brother, who many of you probably know, sad to say, and that's Carl the Coconut. Carl the Coconut. Carl, how you doing? Fine, huh? Ladies and gentlemen, this coconut represents a lot of the way that men think. If you have never dealt with a coconut, if you have never tried to open a coconut, Lord have mercy. Let me tell you, you got a challenge before you. It's not easy. Is it not? Raise your hand if you think the opening a coconut is easy. It's not, because you have to be so careful. Inside of a coconut is nutrients that can change your life. Inside of a coconut can help you with diabetes. Did you know that? Inside of a coconut can give you hydration inside of you. It helps to improve your skin. It helps you to, in aches and pains. The coconut has many nutrients. It's an incredible, incredible fruit. However, if you break it the wrong way, it is nothing. Same thing for a man's mind. Carl is not unlike many of the men that I deal with. And when I bring that coconut with them, you should see their eyes. Oh, no, Coach, I'm not a coconut. Are you? Do you think like everyone else? Is your mind so set in misnomers and misunderstanding and a way of thinking that men are special, that men are unique to and not equal to women? That women don't bring to the table everything that we bring, everything and more. So we're going to talk a little bit about Carl earlier. I'm going to be talking about Carl quite a bit. But before we get started, I want to give you kind of a little idea about how we deal with the men and boys. I too, as you've heard earlier, I am a member, I apologize, of Men Engaged Network. I recently, just as of December, was the interim executive director, the first of its kind for NAMN, the North American Men Engaged Network. And I have to say, we were a casualty of this election. We were the first casualty because our funding primarily came from an organization out of Europe. And for many years, they felt that the United States and Canada, I represented the United States and Canada, in all things gender justice. They felt that the United States was not pulling their weight. They felt like the United States was just giving a lot of lip service, if you will, as far as dealing with gender justice. And this last election just proved a point to them that the United States is not on the same level as Africa or Europe or Southeast Asia or South America. You understand what women are dealing with there. This life and death as we speak, just to even say that I want equality in education, that I want a job. So unfortunately, our funding was cut. However, that's not going to stop us. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we need to do, what Zonta has already been doing, and how we're going to step up the game, if you will, in pushing forward. But now I'm back with Deeds Driven Dads. Deeds Driven Dads is an international fatherhood advocacy program. I am part of Equimundo, their men care program. I was one of the first ones. We are represented for North America in all of their websites. And our premise is this, as you saw in the video, fatherhood is deeds, not words. Everybody see that? Repeat after me. I can see your lips moving now. Let's go. This is a practice. Deeds, not words. Let me hear it.
Deeds, not words.
Deeds, not words.
Deeds, not words.
Deeds, not words.
Amen. All of you understand that. Deeds, it's your work, not what you say. And we promote that with the fatherhood movement from the time that you understand that you're going to be blessed with a child. You heard me? You're going to be blessed with a child, not labored with a child. Not, oh no, this is going to happen to me. You are having a blessing. To the time you're a grandpa, like Coach is, a wonderful, excited grandpa. It never stops. But it's your deeds that speak to your character. It's your deeds that speak to your integrity. So that's what we do with the fatherhood programs. It's unique in its style. I work with the fathers and young men too. I really specialize with the young boys, what we call our future fathers, and letting them understand that, you know, all the duties that a mother has, all of her wonderful attributes need to be elevated. You need to emulate her. What she's doing, you follow her. You need somebody to coach you. Watch how your mom did. Watch how your aunt did. Watch how your grandma did. That's you. You need to do those things. And it's been very successful all around the world. When I transferred over 3 years ago to NAMN, North American Men Engaged Network, it was a real eye-opener for me. I'm going to be honest with you, while I've always promoted equality, always been a social justice. In fact, I'm probably a little bit older than many of you, believe it or not. Coach is about 104. I came up in the civil rights movement. My father, my mother were first of their kind in the early 60s, late 50s. I saw lots of marches. I got lots of threats in our home. Understand me? So I was always in that realm. When I took on the executive director position in the gender equality movement, it was an eye-opener for me. I always knew that you were against all odds, but I really didn't understand the level of it. And I must applaud you for the many years that you've been in existence. And I'm here to tell you now, 100 years more is coming for you and many victories. You will win. You will win, even though the odds seem against us. But how do we win, particularly now? So that's what I'm going to talk to you about, if that's okay. A little bit about our strategy that we've worked with men and boys, but it's adaptable to you. I speak this to the women's groups. This is us. It matters not. Women, man, one team, one family, one voice. First and foremost, moving forward, faith. Now more than ever, and I mean this. All of us know the climate that's on in the United States. So what do? Now more than ever, we have to have faith that we're going to win. We have to have faith in each other. We have to have faith in our message because it is true. It is right. It will win. But even though the clouds seem dark, dark storms seem to be before us, that matters not. We've seen them before, have you not? 100-year history, Zonta's seen some storms, but you've weathered them. Now we must weather them now. And it will be an all-out front, but that matters not. Bring it on. Nobody is tougher than us. Nobody, nor will they ever be. Second, sacrifice. Uh-oh, coach, sacrifice. How could we sacrifice even more than we've sacrificed till now? Ladies, gentlemen, sacrifice is going to be needed now. In particular, forgiving those who knew not what they were doing. I know a lot of us have friends and family who have chosen to go with the dark side, have chosen to turn a blind eye to what's going on, instead of being angry with them, instead of shunning them. They're only going with what they know, particularly the men and the boys. They're only following what they've learned. And as many of you know, those of you who have dealt with men and boys in the past, you understand they're following what their father done or their grandfather did. And unfortunately, now we're in the second generation, where most of the men, when we talk to them, they had no father. They had no strong male mentor, strong male leadership in their life. They did not. And that goes all across the racial boundaries. It matters not. You ask them, hey, tell me about your father. I don't even know who he is. You understand? And that brings the anger. That puts a hole inside of you that you seek to be filled. And unfortunately, it was filled by the streets, by the news media, by our younger generations. Many of us allowed them to be raised by video games and online and TikTok and all these madness, all this AI is now circumventing what the parent should have done, what the father should have done. He has a special role. He has a special voice. So when they're acting the way that they do, understand why they are. Next, we're getting deep now. Are you ready? Patience. Raise your hand and be honest if you have patience. Coach just got some a few years ago. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. There you go. Raise your hand if you have patience. There you go. I love it. I love it. Patience. Patience is a what? Patience is a virtue, is it not? Which means it's heaven sent. There's nothing you could buy at Target or Costco. I apologize, Costco, that's our new thing. You can't get it at Costco. It definitely is not going to come overnight. And oftentimes it comes after many storms. It comes after you saying, hey, I got all upset and I got just in a tizzy, but all of a sudden, 5 years from now, it was gone. You see? So patience. So we got faith, sacrifice, patience. Ready for the next one? Commitment. Coach, committed. Zonta's committed, and you are. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, it's going to take a commitment now like never before, because they have let the dogs go, if you will. They have opened up the barn door and just let it all out. This is their last ditch effort. You can tell. You can tell. So that's good. Bring it on to us. But with our commitment, our unity, our being able to strategize, our thinking, don't worry about it. We're going to slip right on through. We already have the wonderful plays. We already know their next moves. We know this. And our commitment will get us through. Last but not least, on our 5 keys, and these are Coach's keys to success, unconditional love. That is the glue. And you have it. And I love you all so much. I've been so excited. I've spoke to the world about you because you have given nothing but unconditional love in a time when others would have turned away. Many would have said, well, the women, they don't want anything. You know, they're just trying to make mouth off. They're just trying to make noise. No, that's not true. We are loving our sisters. We are loving our cousins and our aunts and our grandmas. I love all mine, love them dearly. And that unconditional love is what's going to make the difference against Voldemort. Because they have none. They have none. So those are the Coach's 5 keys. Let's go through them one more time and use this. When you seem down, when you seem like, Coach, this is making me crazy. It doesn't seem like we're making any headway. Check your keys. You must turn all 5 keys at the same time. You cannot turn a couple of them and think that door will open. All 5 will unlock it. Okay? Remember that. Say, am I turning all my keys? Faith, sacrifice, patience, commitment, unconditional love. These are the core. And this is what I tell the men. And as you can see, you could feel now, they kind of start to see it. Like, coach, nobody talked to me in that way, because those are real. All righty. So those are the keys to success. Now, how are we going to go about doing that? I won't be much longer. Carl's going to talk to you a little bit later. I see he's opening up a little bit. I got him over here close to me. But I want to talk to you a little bit about promoting this gender equality movement. And I'm so glad you mentioned the he for she. All of you are well versed with that. I'm looking forward to their announcing of the rebranding, if they have not, some new ideas, because as far as I'm concerned, that is a calling card for us all. Calling card for us all. And I'm hoping that this next reboot will definitely stay focused on what we're trying to do in engaging men and boys. First, you're gonna have to, and I apologize, I'm gonna speak in we, in terms of we, one family, one voice, one team. We are going to have to go in places that we might not have been before. We're gonna have to go in places where you probably were gonna be the only one. Where men's groups, as I said before, I am a pioneer, and I really am in the fatherhood movement. I started it way before it was a movement, and I did it because I had a daughter by myself, and I needed help. I needed some help. It was too many diapers. She had too much hair, and I didn't, I just needed some help. However, little did I know that it was gonna grow into where it is now. But that is a start. If you have a fatherhood movement that's in your community, in your state, in your region, I recommend to you that you reach out to them, because those fatherhood movements have the fathers with a listening ear. The fathers now in those programs have started to see that there's something bigger than myself. You see, I've hit rock bottom. My life is going down. What can I do? And that's where the fatherhood programs come in and say, well, you need to prioritize your children. They need to eat before you. You need to make sure that their homework is done. You need to make sure that their schoolwork is done for the school. You need to make sure their clothes are clean. You saw me do the laundry, all those things. That is a natural partner for us. And when I say the fatherhood movement, I know that over the past few years, there's been some perpetrators. There has been some that have tried to step in our shoes. And you can already hear in my voice, I do not play with them. They do not like when Coach Lynn comes around. I don't play that, because they're just trying to have excuses. That's not what the responsible fatherhood movement is about. We are about teaching fathers all things being responsible. So that's a natural partner for you. Next, programs that are working with men's groups, that are working with the formerly incarcerated. And I know you say, Coach, no. Yes, they too. That coconut, they were Carl's before. You saw them, ooh, a lot of Carl's in that one. However, they got a little crack in it. You see, they got a little crack in that coconut. That's all you need, is a little crack to get it open. You got all the good stuff inside of there. They are good. And you're introducing to them, particularly them, because many of them are on edge. Many of them might be prone to violence again, because they're so frustrated. Coach, I just got out. I'm just I don't feel fit. I feel angry. I feel lost. That's a great time for you to come and say, hey, let us talk to you about the gender equality movement. Let us talk to you about being a nurturing father, a nurturing man, and how women are here with you. We're not against you. Your children's mother or your girlfriend is not against you. And that voice, your soft voice, or your stern voice, is most welcome. Trust me on that one. But oftentimes you'll shun away from that. Last but not least, another one. I'm almost done. We're almost done with practice, guys. Ready for this one? Young male mentorship programs, young male leadership programs. Frederick Douglass said, it's easier to build strong children than repair broken men. We all know that. These men are hurt. These cars are broke up, cracks everywhere. They don't know what they're doing. Milk flowing out. But the boys are not. The boys are moldable. The boys are ready. They're ready to hear that they're sucking in like a sponge, and all they're hearing is negative. They're hearing from the streets, particularly the second generation who their father is not there. They do not have a strong male role model. So here we come. It matters not if you're a male or not. They just want to hear the message, you see? And they want to hear about, hey, this is how you carry yourself as a man. This is how you treat women. This is how you go on a date, especially from a woman's point of view. They love that. Tell me, what am I doing wrong? You understand? But when we don't have you there, I love doing the part. I'll act like I'll step in your shoes. I wish I didn't have to, but I'll play the role, if you will. But it's better if you do, you see? And many of them, oftentimes their mom is carrying 2 or 3 jobs. She's not really there. She has other children. So she doesn't really have the time to show him that part of being a young man, being a caring, one with great character, deep integrity, a man of his word. So those are the 3 outlets that I would suggest to Zonta. I am with you to the end. I look forward to helping you make those inroads. You already have them. Equimundo is the real parent company, if you will, for MenCare. I want you all to go to mencare.org, right? mencare.org. That is the list of Equimundo's fatherhood programs all across the United States. And they have vetted them. I have vetted them. And they can be a great partner for you, as well as get in contact with your local Department of Justice, your ADs, Assistant District Attorneys, wherever you are, and say, hey, do you have a program that's working with men that are just out or willing to be reintegrated? We'd like to do a presentation. Well, they're gonna call you back right away. Before you end up your email, they're gonna be calling you back because they're looking for that. And last but not least, the Boys and Girls Club. Boys and Girls Club is across the United States. They're a wonderful, wonderful group. My brother is the executive director in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and he's really adapted that. And it's all across the United States. That's a partner that could help us in promoting this gender equality, you see? And that's where spreading the message. And it was said once in a movie, how do you beat an idea? With another idea, with another idea, see? And by us sticking together and promoting the same message, same style, they can't attack us. They can't say, oh, they said this in Kansas. Yeah, that was the same thing they said in Battle Creek. And that's the same thing they said in Boston. And that's the same thing they said in San Antonio. You see? The next thing you know, they're gonna see a united front and engaging men and boys in this gender equality mission that we're on. All righty? So that's it. Remember the 5 keys? Everybody got their keys? Got them on your key ring?
Yep.
Let me say it one more time. Let me say them one more time. And I mean, and I'm saying this because trust me when I tell you, they really are true. They really do work. Faith, sacrifice, patience, commitment, unconditional love. Doc, you turn those keys. Oh my goodness, Carl's gonna melt in your hands. You have coconut milk, all kind of lotion, all that. And Carl will be your bestest buddy. All righty? Thank you guys so much. God bless you. I look forward to your questions. Bring them on.
Okay.
Questions.
Steven, I'm going to start. And thank you. I'm clapping
You're
for you.
welcome.
I think everybody appreciates what
Thank
you
you.
had to say today.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a sensitive question, but it's in respect to Zonta and our Zontians here today, and those who will listen to our recording. So we, as you know, are working with achieving gender equality. It's part of a climate justice program.
Yeah.
And in general, gender equality is closing the gender gap. So we all work on that.
Yeah.
We are non-political. And so we have representation here from all different political parties. So we work together in a bipartisan manner. So I would like to know, how do we achieve this working together so that nobody is offended by the work that needs to be done?
Absolutely. Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I apologize. I forgot that we are a climate justice focus group, and I am a climate justice advocate and then some to the end. I believe that our message is universal. It knows no political party. It knows no political person. What we're talking about is equality for all people. Women just happen to have been the brunt of long-term ignorance, long-term just archaic thinking of men, and it cannot be denied. It's not denied, particularly in climate justice. We know that. We just came from COP. We were lucky enough to just finally get something around gender equality written in the final report. However, now we understand, particularly with the way that the world is turning, it's nothing to be played with, and we cannot play politics with it. We do not play politics with it. The hurricanes matters not what political party you're in, the fires, the mudstorms. So I say to this body, in this realm, in this space, if you're an R or a D, I ask that. I don't ask that. I just ask, are you committed to this? Are women and human nature your focus? So I believe if we stick with that, then we won't get tied up in that political malarkey, if you will.
Thank
Because
you.
it matters, particularly in climate justice, it doesn't matter. It does not.
Thank you so much for clarifying. And I misspoke. We're political, but we're nonpartisan.
Absolutely, I understand.
So sorry, everybody for that. So yeah, thank you. Who else has a question? Anybody? Alex, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I understand that it's not political, but how do we frame the message so that it intersects across political lines? Even though it's not, we're not, Zonta is not political per se, but I think it'd be interesting to understand how to frame certain language as well as certain incentives that reach a broad audience. So that's
the
just
message-
from one person.
As I said before, and thank you, Alex, and I want to let you all know, Alex and I have been together for a little while. I've seen him grow into an incredible advocate in gender equality. The message is the same, Alex, as I said before, whether you're in Battle Creek, Boston, Miami, New Jersey, it matters not. Our message is the same: gender equality, gender justice, social justice, particularly incorporating this climate justice piece. We don't ask what's your political party when we're doing a presentation. We don't ask who you voted for when we're coming to speak to a group. It matters not. It matters not in the midst of a storm. Those of you who have ever been through a hurricane, I have been through many. I do the fatherhood emergency response in the Caribbean. I've seen the devastation. And nobody asked, nobody, what is your political party before you gave them a handout of some rice and some milk and a jug of water. So in this space, I would suggest we continue, and Zonta continues, just spreading the message of equality and all listening ears, and we'll see who comes to us. Some might gravitate to us more than others, but it doesn't matter. They're still going to hear our message. And that seems to be it. Cast a wide net now. Everybody hears us. It's a numbers game. We talk to millions so that we can get thousands, you see? And when we have a singular message, and we stay on point, and we're indivisible, then sooner or later they're going to start to say, if they're not already now, and I know they are. When you speak with a representative of Zonta, I know where their loyalty lies, and that's in humanity, and that's in social justice for all, not a political party.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to ask a question? Oh, Bonnie Artel has her hand raised. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for your presentation today, for sure. I'm curious, how do you get the message out to other men's groups or men's organizations about your group, and how do they join with you?
Well, we've been so blessed. Thank you, Bonnie. Good to see you. As I said before, Equimundo, with the Men Care program, the need is so great. The need is so great. Of course, if they're looking for Coach Lynn and Deeds Driven Dads, they can get in contact with me. Julie, if you don't mind, you'll put our my email in the chat, and it's for all of you. Use it, use it. However, we had to really have regional programs, if you will. Issues that are dealing with the indigenous community is different than somebody that's dealing in the Midwest, you see? So what I try to do in many ways is be a conduit, be able to give these fatherhood programs, or those who are interested in learning more, put you in the right direction, coach you, if you, this is where you need to be. There's several conferences that are coming up, both on the West Coast and the East Coast, and really give you some inroads onto where you can get service on a regular basis. And I say that because our fathers and these men, and it's more than just fatherhood, this is a masculinity issue. They're bound up like a ball of yarn. They have a lot of issues, and it is not overnight, as many of you can attest. To unravel that, you're going to need a lot of partners, social service agencies, therapists. It's very therapeutic. You name it, we need to have it. And that's why we make sure that you get with the right regional fatherhood program to make sure that we can help you over the years that it might take for you to change your mind, for you to start seeing the light, for us to open that coconut. It does not open right away, but it will open. But once again, we'll put it in the chat, email me, Coach, and I'll be able to kind of give you some direction, as well as Julie, on where you can go. But push come to shove, Coach travels. And that's really what I do. I motivate, I get them in line, and a lot of times I do with the fatherhood programs, help them with the curriculum and help them put together a game plan rooted in our message. So I hope that answers your question, Bonnie.
That's terrific. Petra from District 22 has a question. Go ahead, Petra.
Thank you so much, and thank you very much for inviting us from down under to join you. It's fantastic, and we're quite a few of us here from my district, and I can see a few from elsewhere in Australia. So I've already been watching the growing interaction of Zonta International with the concept that we need to work with men, and I have already invited 2 men's groups to speak at our upcoming district conference. So are you aware of whether groups in Australia are already connected to this network internationally, Stevan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We work with Australia. We're there all the time. We have many meetings at 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning to adapt to your times. However, yes, Australia, I would suggest go to their website, Men Engage.
Yeah, I'll have a search.
Yes,
That's great.
Particularly in climate justice. We're part of what we call the working group for climate justice. We're very powerful, and Australia has been a vital voice, vital.
Fantastic.
They'll be able to put you in the right direction with them. You're welcome. You're welcome, Petra. Welcome. Julie, I believe Elaine had her hand up too.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stevan. Thank you so much for all your information. This is a question regarding a 30-year-old male who has 3 children who had some very poor parenting experience. And so he pretty much sees himself as the king of the castle. Mom has to do everything, take care of the kids, take care of him. And he's very defensive when mom attempts to address to him that he might help out. So I'm wondering what an approach would be that I can suggest to mom to maybe look at some of your videos or something like that.
Absolutely. Great call on that one. Yes. He is, in that case, we've seen more than I can count. It's the messenger, not the message. All of us have heard that before. But no matter what she says, he is not going to hear it yet. So yes, absolutely. Say, hey, so listen, sneak it in there. Listen, oh, I saw this great video, and let him see it. Because when he sees other men doing it, that's his thing. He doesn't want to feel like I'm not a man. But when he sees other men doing it, watch him be attracted to it. Next thing you know, he said, wow, I need to make sure that the dishes are done. The housework is my responsibility. Since you're the king of the castle, Since you're the king, you make sure that the castle is clean. Your job, not hers. your children, you'll make sure that they're taken care of, not her. But it's great when you hear other men saying it because he hears it with pride. And when he sees other men that he looks up to, ladies and gentlemen, you all know that men are very, as much as we claim to be leaders, we're followers, boy, to the end. If we see somebody that we like and they dress nice, or, oh, look how he acts, or look how he is, we'll follow them to the cliff. You see? Same thing here. Same thing here. So that's why we've tried to, as I said when I started out, the numbers were so great that we wanted to do more video series. We have a television show here in New York. You know, I can't tell you how many times I'm on the subway, I hear across it, Coach, thank you, from the men, because it has to be in that realm. It has to be, so we could talk to the masses and they could see it on a regular basis. So we let them know, say, Coach Lynn, tell her, say, talk to Coach Lynn, I'll talk to him. Let me talk to them. Let me get him on the right path.
Thank you, Steven. I think
welcome.
that's all the time we have for questions to try to stay on our 1 hour time frame, which we may go over a few minutes. So let's get Steven, you're welcome to stick around. Let's move on.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna let you guys take care of your business. Thank you, Julie.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll be in
I want to
touch.
say thank you all. God bless you all. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Bonnie, Beth, Eileen, Denise, you're almost there. And you're almost there. Stick together. We got this. One family, one voice, one team. Good night, everybody. Good
Good
night.
night, Steven. Thank
Good
you.
night.
So it's my turn. So let's
Yes.
talk about it. We are all familiar with women who have contributed to our history, and they are our she heroes, and yet we are still affected by inequality. So here are 3 questions to talk about in our breakout rooms, and Julie is going to lead us there, but let's take a look at the questions real quick before we start that. What can we do to affect change to solve gender inequality? What problems can we solve at the club and district levels? And how can we be a beacon for equality? Julie?
Thank you so much. Okay, so bear with me. We're going to go into breakout rooms. So after what you've heard, tell me about you. Which Zonta group are you in? Which Zonta Club district?
I'm in District 9, Area 5, Arizona, in the only left club in Arizona. It's Maricopa.
Yeah.
And I'm also on the district as a secretary, the third biennium by now. And I'm a transfer from a European club, from a German club. You might hear it in my accent. So I'm a Zontian since 2006 and had several positions in my former German club. And when I moved to Arizona, I joined Casa Grande Club, old club, but it finally died out because people were too old and we didn't get new members. So I transferred to the Maricopa Club. Yeah. It was very interesting to hear. I never heard that there are men groups. So it was very interesting what Steve had to say, and he has a very charismatic attitude to do so. It's interesting.
I find it interesting and also so necessary.
Yeah. What club are you in, or?
I am with the Zonta Club of Fort Collins in Colorado.
Okay, so you're not far away from us.
No, not far away at all.
Yeah.
So after what you heard and combined with thoughts you've had, what can we do? What can Zontians do to solve gender inequality? Where do you think we could start, or what can we do?
I think a very good point Steve brought up is the boys and girls club.
Yes.
Instead of just focusing on C clubs at high schools and Golden Sea Club, so we have to cooperate a little more. I think was a very good point.
What do you think about, I'm just throwing this out based on what you just said. What do you think about co-ed Golden Z and Z clubs? I know I've seen a couple of co-ed ones, or the Z clubs, especially in high schools, will get boys involved in projects.
My former club in Casa Grande, they had, when I joined them in 2017, they had several C clubs running, but just due to the Zonta members who have been teachers, and I think there was also one C club had boys involved, but not too much. It was more focused on girls. But we have to work together with the other gender.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that's how we can be a beacon for equality, is to work together with, boys and girls together, men and women together, or all four, boys, girls, men, and women together, maybe in projects or awareness building campaigns? Or
I think it's very important to focus on awareness building campaigns. How we can do that, I have not thought about it yet, but we have to be open. If you want to resolve the gender gap, we have to talk with the other side.
Yes, I read in this book called Moonrise about women's leadership, and in one of the stories it talked, I think that was the book, it might have been a different one, I read a lot, but it talked about how we're all wounded in some way, women with the issues women face and men with the issues men face, and how do we come together as wounded individuals, because it can actually be a force against each other. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Not yet. I have
something to think about, though.
Yeah, I have to think about it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I am going to give them a message for to close the rooms. All right, we have one more minute, or about 30 seconds. So tell me about what passions you have for advocacy.
It is very important for me that people should be treated equally and just correctly, or just it, so you don't make a difference, female, male, and any color of the skin or whatever. And this also has to be is a big focus on, also in our club. And our AD, she is well, she's the lucky one. She only has one club, but she is very, very active. Terry Porty-Stein.
Oh yeah, she's on our committee.
Yes, I know. She's talking about it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, we are back. Welcome back, those of you who are back. There's more coming, I'm sure, and then a few probably had to leave early. So thank you all.
You're doing a great job moving us all around and getting us keeping on track.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I'm doing my best. I'm very nervous.
Oh, really? Don't be. It's going great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope everyone learned something, and we're going to go through the 6 groups. I just spoke with Ingrid for a while, and she told me about how the Boys and Girls Club message really impressed her with things that we can do. So if each moderator can just give me one thing of how we can be a beacon for equality, because of time, and we have a few more slides to get through. So we'll start with who moderated room 1.
I'm not sure what room I was in.
I don't know the room number either.
Okay, so let's start with Joyce.
That was Denise. Still,
you're starting with me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about making sure that we would educate the men, and that our biggest focus should be on the young and education, and also a self-check on how we are dealing with ourselves and in relationships to men, so that we can educate them so that they are a beacon for equality for us. And then we also went into the education. It turns out that Australia has a lot of programs called like Love Bites. And then there's another one that is respecting ourselves and respecting others. And it is geared toward the different levels in schools. So they're starting in primary schools and then they're advancing on and on. So the idea is to reach people when they're young, get them to understand and be respectful about relationships and how they should deal with that and equality. Okay.
Great, thank you. I'm going to
Good
throw
group.
it to Joyce. It sounds like a great group.
It was a
Yeah.
great group.
Yeah, we had a very great group too. And one of the suggestions was that we need to, as a group, as a club, we need to involve ourselves more in the climate change. Women need to get more involved in the discussions at a higher level. And you can just increase the awareness and just get the scientific community and bodies get involved with those to get the message out. Also, at the district meetings, get speakers on climate change or any other topic that will help with equality, and combine it with fun and education at the same time so that it's not too dry and people will enjoy it. And also present things like one of the members in the breakout room said they have at their meeting, they had financial resilience to help women. But in order to do that, you need to have relatable stories so that people can really relate to it and want to get more involved in it. And just basically getting more involved, get good speakers and combine fun with seriousness.
I really like fun and seriousness because it really lifts our spirits. So thank you,
Yeah.
Joyce. Angela.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we had a very robust conversation. We talked about addressing with men who are the women that are their sponsors, but also there was a challenge as to men dealing with the high emotional aspects of women. When you have a lot of women in your business and you find them in the restrooms in tears, men don't know what to do with that. And so finding that balance between how do you address a woman that is an emotional boil over moment versus men that only want to look at us as the weaker sex. And so, how do you challenge both of those? And those are, if you've been in HR, those are challenges that we all face and deal with.
That is so true. I'm not in HR, but I know I've dealt with them in the workplace. Thank you, Angela. That sounds like it was stimulating. Go ahead, Beth.
I'm sorry, I was in the same group as Angela was, and we also had a couple of great ideas at the club and district levels. Is when you see women being recognized, being awarded for something, even though they're not with Zonta or just in the community and business, and that promote them, celebrate them, celebrate their victories. And also, I believe it was Teresa that brought up ZI's Women First. Is that Teresa that brought that up? Or yeah, Teresa brought that up. And it's a monthly publication that I believe they post on the website as well, monthly. And just to share that and get that word out as well. That's things that we can do at the club and district level.
That's wonderful. I love that. Celebrating our accomplishments, whether we're Zontians or not, is fantastic. All right, Eileen, do you have something to share?
I think some of the ideas that were already mentioned are things we talked about. We were lucky enough to have Alex in our group, so I think he might be the only male in the meeting at this moment. And he mentioned, the difference between the classic masculinity idea versus, what we would like to see as far as a male behavior, and that this was probably best developed in young ages, so that if you explain to young men what women would like to see and what is equitable, then that would be a way to go about that. Also, as far as action, okay, obviously we didn't have a whole lot of time to talk, but as far as action, I mentioned that I'll probably be sending the recording of this session to all of D2, all of District 2, because I think that was an excellent speaker, and I think a lot of people would like to hear what he has to say. So I'll be doing that.
Thank you, Eileen. I totally agree, and I'm so glad Alex is here. You all don't know Alex, but he was with Men Engaged Network as sort of like a Golden Z Club at Denver University. He's working on his master's in human rights. And so he's a wonderful resource and willing to speak and chat and talk and see how we can work together. So thank you, Alex. I appreciate that you're here.
Honored to be here and learn more about Zonta and all the good work that you do.
Thank you so much. All right, Bonnie Hames, do you have something to report? Or Bonnie Artal, either one?
This is Bonnie Hames. You've already heard from 2 people in my group, so
Okay.
maybe 3. So
Perfect, thanks. How about Barney Artal?
I think Denise was moderating. Denise, do you have notes?
Yeah, so one of the key things that we talked about is how do we open our door wider? Let's reach out to groups that we wouldn't think to. There's a Harley service group in our community, and we have monthly service group meetings. Who's to say they wouldn't be interested in working on human trafficking or ending child marriage? We just don't know. So let's reach out to those groups, have those conversations, and find a commonality. And then I put in the chat about how we have men in our club, and how can we learn from them to get more men engaged, what keeps them in Zonta.
I love that. Thank you so much. So much to think about. We have a new project, everyone. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go through the rest of our slides. Hang out if you can. I appreciate it if you do. If you have to go, I understand that too. Let's see. So what can Zontians do? Joanne, this is you're on next.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Let's go to that next slide. What can Zontians do? We believe our clubs can act by building a community. Start here, talk, ask questions, and listen to community leaders to learn. Do your communities have social justice and climate issues? Who's making the decisions? Are the decisions made from a gender balanced team? What are the voids in the process and what are the solutions? Maybe they haven't considered how the decision really affects women and girls. Next slide, please. What can you do? Okay, next steps. Let's process what you have learned and ask more questions. Here are some examples. What's happening in your state? Are there gender gaps in wages, housing, and health? Are community decisions made with a gender balanced approach? Look at some of these questions. And we'll go to the next slide. What can you do? Consider club action in your community as a vehicle for change. Here are 7 strategies that help create change through advocacy, service, and education. Be informed. Invite guest speakers to your club or conferences. Research issues at the community level. Build community relationships with local officials, state representatives, and share your concerns. Collaborate with leaders and decision makers at community events, town hall meetings, public forums. Partner with organizations and advocacy groups. Be persistent. Remember, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Use social media, blogs. Provide educational programs, community outreach. Collect data on women's issues. Initiate, communicate, and advocate. Invest in girls and women in your area to be leaders and decision makers, and especially mentor each other to build a better community. Joyce will show us some of the resources to help us get started.
Thank you. Let's look at resources. Next slide. Many of you are familiar with Zonta website. The Zonta USA Caucus has one, zontausa.org. You can find many valid resources on both on many related topics. Next slide. Here are additional resources. All of our registrants will receive a copy of our resources and the recording of today's presentation. It will arrive in your inbox as soon as possible. Angela? Angela?
Sorry about that. I forgot to put the mic back on. Just as a reminder to explore opportunities at the Zonta USA Caucus website or join us. If you're interested in joining this committee, please put your name in the chat and we'll be happy to reach out to you and help get you involved. Here is our mission. We encourage Zontians to take part in advocacy on issues that affect women and girls in the U.S. through national legislative advocacy with our Fast Action Friday initiatives. We connect to our districts through supporting all of Zonta campaigns. And as you can see, our top priorities. It's fascinating, fun, and inspiring work. Join our advocacy efforts through Fast Action Fridays. Go to zontausa.org and click on the Fast Action Friday to join. Your information will not be sold or shared. Anyone can join this effort to build a better world for women and girls. Don't forget to invite men to join Fast Action Friday initiatives. Next slide, please. Please remember, equal rights for women does not mean fewer rights for men. It's not a pie, but it is justice. Next slide. Thank you for attending. We will be at the CSW 69 in New York City with Zonta Says Now International Work Group with a presentation, Solutions from the Heart. If you are attending our CSW 69 session we'll be on March 14th at 8:30 a.m. in person. Again, thank you all for attending and goodbye until the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate that you're here.
Good
Thank
job.
you.